All right. So just messaging all the players here, guys, making sucking up to everybody, getting the invites. I almost said sucking off everybody. That would not be a term we're going for here on this IEM broadcast. Pardon me, gentlemen and ladies. But yeah, we'll be getting into it here very shortly. Do want to thank, thanks to IEM having us here. Hey, Glorious Sea Cow, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, so we are waiting on the players. I should be going into this next game, Moja versus Zest, but I sent a message to both players. Haven't got an answer yet, but I'm sure they're doing stuff with the bracket, getting everything finished setting up. We will just be chilling here for a little bit, chat, you and me. Just hanging out. Bunch of the squad all together. Yeah, no, still working on it, guys. All right, guys, here we go. Into this game for Moja versus Zest. Going to be Ephemeron up first. Alright, guys. So, very soon we will get this game going. As you're seeing this, there's going to have just been an ad break. Alright, guys. Cool. Ephemeron, going to be map number 1 here for this best of 3. Zest versus Moja. Let's head on into it. I guess I should probably have waited a little bit longer until like we're actually in game before transferring it over. But it's coming. Don't worry. Don't you worry, guys. We got it. We got this StarCraft action on lock. It's on the way. Awesome, guys. Here we go for real this time. For this best of 3 series, here for the round of 64 for the IEM Katowice North American Qualifiers. Down in the bottom right-hand side, it's the myth himself, Zest. Shield of Ire. His opponent up at the top left-hand side in the blue. A very good Terran player, but up for a challenge here. It's Moja. Pardon me. Goodness gracious. Alright. Very interested to see how Zest is going to be pulling up here in game 1 of this best of 3. I mean, being such a heavy favorite in this series, it's always a little interesting to watch, right? I mean, players can be so loosey-goosey with it and still get wins when they are so much better than their opponent. So, Zest with the SCV Scout here, checking out everything that's going on. We'll have pretty good information to start this game off and start this series off on the right foot. Nice little block here by Zest. Keeping things controlled before finally heading back home. Nice job by Zest, and a decent response by Moja, all things considered. Not delayed too long. As we have the second gas beam taken for Zest and his second pylon, notably inside his base. He's not going for any sort of proxied second gate or anything like that. Like, is something that is pretty fairly common in PvT now. We see a lot more kind of pseudo proxy play, right? Those proxies that still have a very nice way to transition out of, can be some very heavy pressure early, while still having a decent economy behind it. So Moja will be checking out, making sure he's not getting proxied. Of course, doesn't have that full information that we have the luxury of. Stalker going to be the follow-up to this Adept behind this, and let's see what that tech of choice is going to be here for Zest. He hits 100, should be a Twilight Council or a Robo, and there it is. Coming up here for the pink Protoss as he sends this Adept all the way across the map. It has been Marines as the choice here for Moja. And so this Adept shouldn't be able to do too much. Good control so far, keeping him out of the base. And as the second barracks comes up, we do have the tech lab coming down on this factory as well. So, a few different things that could mean. Usually does mean Cyclone this early on in the matchup. The Adept continues just to threaten, really, just being vaguely pressuring here in the front. We have the second Stalker out now back at home. The robotic facility is done. Let's see what he makes from this immediately. And it looks like it is going to be Observers, just going to be getting himself that intel, keeping himself safe, as well as high ground vision, most notably as well, you know, if he does decide to go for some sort of attack or heavier harassment up towards the high ground. Thus will go ahead and back off here through the center. Third and fourth gas is getting taken. We have the robotics bay on the way as well. As a second gateway comes up, so this is going to be very fast Colossi coming out from Zest. Not going to have a lot of units on the ground. He does have Warp Gate finished up, but of course only the one Warp Gate at the moment. So it can be very effective, and usually is. The weakness that it can come against is if an attack hits during the time before Thermal Lances and before there is enough of a buffer for those Colossi to keep them safe. And we can find them dying very, very quickly to some angry stimmed bio pushing forward. That's, though, more than aware of risks like that as he moves across the map with this Observer. Checks out everything, sees the Marine count, sees Stim on the way, and even the tank. Very nicely spotted here for Zest, as his first Colossus is now underway. Third next is going to get thrown down for the pink Protoss as well. Any second now. Thermal Lance has started up, more sentries getting added on as well to help him keep those Marines back, help him pick off some of these units. If he's able to separate some of these Marines and shred them with the Colossi, that would be the ideal scenario here, as these Stalkers abuse their range, trying to get any sort of damage he can, any way to stall this attack, to get out a couple more units, to get out a few more warp-ins. It's 30 Army Supply to 21 right now, as the Stalkers look to contest once more. 3 tanks here, 20 Marines up against just 1 Colossi, 3 Stalkers, and 2 sentries at the moment. That second Colossus very far away right now, and Thermal Lance is not even close to done. Guardian goes up. Here's the Colossus arriving now. The tank has sieged up and begins opening fire. Looking decent so far for Moja, but Zest still with the Colossus alive and quite a few warp-ins available. I mean, what warp-ins he can with the limited amount of gates he has. Once that second Colossus comes out, he should be able to push, but it looks like this third base will have to get canceled. So a nice move by Moja as he forces the cancel here from Zest third, but now he's coming in from both sides. Colossus on the left-hand side, Stalkers on the right. Colossus gets taken very low, but it will stay alive. The Marines pushing forward, but will not be able to finish the job as this one tank trades out its life. And Zest is able to clean that up with a very well-executed flank. Second Colossus added on as his third base gets reestablished. Overall, I mean, for Moja being able to delay that third base, it's nice. Of course, at the cost of 2 tanks, it's not ideal. You know, definitely would have preferred, I mean, obviously would have preferred to keep that alive. If he'd been able to back off after canceling that third base, would have been in a significantly better position than he is now. But as it stands, even on workers, he does not have a third command center. Oh, he does, actually. Excuse me. Third orbital command is actually already done. So overall, Moja's position not looking too shabby right now. He has +1 weapons on the way, concussive shells and stim finishing up here very soon. There's only 2 Colossi at the moment as a Warp Prism gets added on behind this. Excuse me, there's the third. So 3 Colossi is a pretty intimidating number. Moja is going to have to be very careful still with how he engages this, right? He has a decent amount of supply. I mean, pretty close to even 37 to 39, but a lot of it is just in those Marines. And those Marines, as we've seen, do not fare very well, and for very long, for that matter, up against these Colossi in a pitched battle. That +1 weapon is going to be so crucial. The concussive shells, to buy them the opportunities to get that damage, going to be very important as well, as he's heading out with a double drop as his army arrives on his side of the map. Ooh, this Warp Prism as well, coming over with a Colossus. It's a Colossus drop. Zest, the madman, looks to inflict some damage over here to the natural base. Oh, and there's no missile turret. There's nothing to stand in the way of these lasers. Starting to clean up more and more of these SCVs. 3 have gone down so far. And he continues to get more. So at the same time, he arrives by the third base. The bio isn't sure where to go. The drop heading up into the main base. Zest's third base now under assault as he pulls the probes away. The Marines pushing forward are going to be able to unpower this pylon if he wants to. The Colossus in the main, picking up more kills here, up to 5 already. As the bio is still here. Zest's main force actually backed off after, it looks like, just forcing the third base to lift away here. Meanwhile, on the other side, Moja is able to kill the third base. And if he can get in this and get out of here, this would be pretty decent. Honestly, 62 to 57 is that worker count right now. This Colossus drop has now gotten 8 kills, 9 kills. I mean, it's doing a lot of damage here, to be sure, but definitely could be worse. And he kept that third base alive, kept a lot of the workers alive, has, of course, those mules to be benefiting from. I can't show you the income graph, but in terms of just numbers, Moja not too far behind and has the energy for some more mules here to help close that gap as he sits down 10 SCVs at the moment, continuing to add on more upgrades as he starts up +2 weapons and +1 armor. We have +1 armor now on the way here for Zest as he warps in 6 Dark Templar and is going to be looking to harass with them. This one Colossus is still chilling out in the top right position of this map as well. Let's see what these Dark Templar can do as Warp Prism heads up into the main base. There is a very obvious lack of detection here in the main base. He's already baited the response over. Units are unloading. The scan gets invested, and immediately Zest just goes back to the middle line, unloads the other 3, and he is going to have a field day. There is enough energy for another scan, but he's not using it just yet. And as soon as he does, he picks up and heads on out of there. Meanwhile, at the natural base, more carnage going down as the 2 Dark Templar wreak havoc. Moja getting punished brutally for not having enough detection here, and now his add-ons are going to be forfeit. That Warp Prism is going to try and keep itself alive still with yet another Dark Templar alive inside of it. As he picks up and looks like should be able to get out of here. The natural base 1 did finally get cleaned up after he has taken down so many workers in this game. Now taking down to 49 overall. Trying to target down the missile turret. Oh, one more swipe! But the repair is barely good enough. Holds the line for now. On the other side of the map, though, there's a 4th base on the way for Zest. His +1 wet armor coming ever closer to help those charge lots, help these Dark Templars keep themselves alive for a bit longer. Blink finishing up here soon, going to give these Stalkers a lot more survivability and utility to snipe down these medevacs and to keep himself safe here in the center of the map, where Moja is on the march. 106, armor supply to 82. It's an advantage of Moja. He's going to have to use every bit of an advantage he can to break this base. Zest on the defense with Guardian Shield going up. Oh, it's a good concave for the bio. Looking very good, actually. A lot of Marauders still alive in the center. As the Colossi are looking a little vulnerable. They're very far forward, but that bottom side of the army is trading out so very well. And it doesn't look like Moja will be able to push through. The Colossi not taking any damage during that fight. And the charge lots are just soaking up so much right now. Very nicely fought by Zest here as Moja, despite having a very good concave, will not be able to break through just yet. He's regrouping now over to the right-hand side. Another round of Warpins coming through with 5 more sentries getting added on. Zest going to have full control of this battlefield here in game number 1 of the round of 64. And he's pushing towards the third base. Moja on the defense. 1 tank up below this mineral, these bio on the bottom. SCV is getting pulled now as well, as the Marauders are in a great concave, targeting down those Colossi. Great juggling here, though. Oh, but he finally loses 1, loses 2. There's just 1 Colossus left alive. A big round of Warpins coming through, but there's not enough Marines to snipe him. But he takes down the 3rd Colossus for it. 42 to 39, it's at army supply, but the worker count is really where the true story of this game lies. 31 to 66 right now, as despite losing those Colossi, Zest is able to completely deny mining here at the third base, force that orbital to lift up, and now his charge lots are kind of throwing their lives away here. You know, they will force these Marauders to go very far back, but they will eventually just get kited out. A big round of warp-ins here in the main base as the Immortals help out to snipe anything and everything they can. Big stim forward here in the main to try and hold this back, to try and clear this out. But this game is looking very good for Zest. He's done so much damage already and is only going to be doing more. The natural base lifted off now as well. The main base ramp getting force fielded as he recalls back home. 8 Dark Templar getting warped in to help reinforce this army, to help him get set up for the next phase. It's all getting turned into Archons. This army of Zest will only be getting better and better. These 2 Immortals coming in, sniping more of the add-ons as well, really limiting the units that Moja can possibly make right now. And that is just going to make things so much nicer for Zest as this game continues. He's going to have just complete control of anything and everything you could think of. Moja will not be able to go for a drop without Zest knowing about it. He will not be able to push through the center of the map without Zest knowing about it. And even if he does somehow make it across without Zest knowing about it, Zest has significantly more money, significantly more bank, and significantly more income over time. 66 workers to 29, that's almost more than double the workers. As the Archons catch a few, killing a bunch, and a great blink forward there. Catches 1 medevac. This army of Moja moving to the center of the map, but that does not look like a game-ending force against the powerhouse that is Zest. The pink Protoss here in the bottom right side readies himself at his natural ramp. And Moja will be marching forward, looking for the opportunity. He has Ghosts available now. No enhanced shockwaves, but the MP is still a very nice call to help him open up more opportunities. But now the Immortals are back in the main base, or the natural base, excuse me, and kill a few more workers. Now coming all the way back to help out with this defense. His Guardian Shields go up. There's EMP, takes out one of the Archons, but the charge lots haven't even gotten started yet. Now they push forward. The Immortals on the flank. Bit dangerous of them, but that doesn't even matter at this point. Zest is so far ahead, looking so good. GG here for game 1. Zest will strike first. Very nicely done by him. Full control of that game. I mean, as to be expected, right? He is such a phenomenal player. He will be definitely one of the top names to beat here today. Almost no doubt about it. He is playing very, very well. As is to be expected. I mean, Zest is just so good. Our next game, we're going to go into game number 2 of that series, of course. I'm going to take a look at the bracket at the same time, try and figure out what else has been happening. Looks like Armani and Nice are playing. Rogue and Artistori are playing. Oh, it looks like Rogue actually beat him already. So Rogue will be playing either Skillis or Eric. We have Goblin and Dakin playing right now, as the winner of that will be facing the winner of this series. Game 2, going to be on Triton here, guys, as we get into it. Let's see how Zest can close out this series, or if Moja will be able to cause an upset and take a game, force a 3rd map here for this best of 3. Let's load into it, guys. I mean, I guess I, again, should wait until we're already in the game. Then I'll transition the screen. Not really that camera shy. I can sit here and talk to you guys for a bit. I did something new today. So I was at work about 15 minutes before this started. And I got off work like the minute the brackets were supposed to go live. So what I did was before I went to work, set up on my computer, I had like my Streamlabs open, I had my OBS open, my Spotify, and then from my phone at work, remote desktoped in, played my Spotify playlist, turned the stream on live, so that way when I got home today, at like, 5 minutes past when the brackets went live, my stream was already up, just so I could not miss out on any time, miss out on any games here from having to set stuff up. As we are here on the bottom right-hand side of Triton, it's Zest, the pink Protoss. Facing off against the blue Terran. Up in the top left-hand side, it's Moja. The refinery on the way, just a very standard 1-racks opener so far. Zest, though, looking to make things a little bit interesting here. This is looking like that 1-gate proxy. that allows you to apply just so much good pressure to the side of the Terran. It is really it can be very, very potent, especially if the Terran player is not prioritizing unit production. If they try and prioritize that economy, it can be very, very dangerous. It's even more so, more dangerous the longer it goes without them spotting it. Of course, it can be very snowbally as well if you're able to pick off that initial Reaper. If you're able to keep a bunker from going up with good Stalker micro, it can single-handedly win you a game without being even that much of committed pressure, right? Not having to invest too much money into it, but still getting a lot of really good value. So I'm very excited to see what Zest can do with that as his probe comes around to be a bit annoying here at the natural base. There is the Marine, though, so he will get chased away. So first gate finishing up here for Zest as his Cyber Core finishes on the other side. See what the unit choice is going to be from this proxied gateway. Probably Stalker. I have to imagine. There it goes. Adept coming up from the far side so we can get across here just a bit sooner. The reactor finishing up here for Moja as the factory gets thrown. Excuse me, a second barracks gets thrown down. No factory just yet. The second barracks will be nice, but this reactor right now will of course be some time that he's not producing a Marine. So he's only going to have the Marines that he has for this first Stalker. Excuse me, the Marine he has as it gets taken down. The SCV here on the low ground will go down as well. And look at how many SCVs he pulls. 7 of them coming down this ramp to try and kill this SCV, or this Stalker, excuse me. And now a second Stalker is here, killing another of these SCVs, killing actually quite a few. Doing some very nice damage here on the ramp. The Marine coming down, going to try and contest this as well. This is a lot of pressure coming through. There's another gateway, or excuse me, a robotics facility now getting proxied over on the left-hand side of this as the Adept Shade comes forward. Adept and these Stalkers here at the natural base, beaten away at the orbital command. Or shouldn't be able to take it down, but getting that high ground vision, poke it away at this. This is such nice pressure right now as that robotics facility comes closer to finishing up. This reactor about to fall. And it will indeed. No repairs able to come through as Moja on the ropes very early here in game number 2. Trying to make this hold happen with concussor shells on the way. He's going to be trying to leverage some of those Marauders, but doesn't even actually have any Marauders at the moment. And now his natural base is going to have to lift off. He's lost even more SCVs so far. 7 in total have gone down in this game alone, as Zest is doing so much work. Here now is the Warp Prism. He's going to He's just going to go nuts with this, I think. Juggling these Stalkers. More Warp-ins coming forward here. This is such a tough hold for Moja. He's going to have to pull all of his SCVs, and looks like that is what he's going to try and do now. Pulling down the ramp. Trying to get on top of these Stalkers and punish them, but the Stalkers doing a great job kiting back. And they are just picking off Marine after Marine. The supply depot goes down, taking down another SCV. More of these Marines are falling. There's a singular Marauder that'll do what it can, and Zest is backing up here, but really just to buy more space to finish the job and get these final shots. He's down to 10 workers. GG. Zest takes this game and the series with a 2-0 scoreline. GG and congratulations to him as he moves on to the round of 32 here in this qualifier. Very nicely done. I will go in now to Namshar versus Cyan.